Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about Love is Blind, the reunion. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned, like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this video. Y'all, Love is Blind reunions always fall flat for me. Am I the only one? Like, I never truly get what I need out of their reunions. Like, I feel like they never hold the right people accountable. I feel like they skate over a lot of things that we would love to discuss. And I'm gonna get to it later on with the specifics of who I'm talking about, but I just feel like they never give ever. I feel like it's the host partially because I feel like they want to be friends with these people more so than to get down to the nitty-gritty of what's going on. What's her name? Vanessa. She is way too emotionally involved, or she acts too emotionally involved, and well, I was just crying staring at the screen. I was just wondering, it's almost like you're trying to like pull the emotion out of them, but it feels like manipulation. Like if you're crying, it's like you're trying to force them to cry. I don't need you to do all that. I need you to be a host, okay? I need you to be somewhat impartial so that you can hold people's feet to the fire when you need to. But if you're sitting up here talking like you're a good girlfriend, you're not gonna push them to get the real answers. You're not. And your husband, Nick, he just sit there and interject whatever's on his cue cards whenever it's time. Okay, because that whole scene with the eye drops, oh my eyes, oh, that was so corny. I would have rather y'all play the scene of him doing that and letting people, you know, actually react to what was happening, especially Nancy. We really didn't even get Nancy's reaction to what happened. I've been saying since last season, I think they need to get new hosts. I don't think they're good at hosting this show. I understand they've been here from the beginning, or are they producers, or they have something to do with the creation of the show. I don't know. I get that, but that doesn't mean they're the best hosts. That's my opinion. So let's move on to Alexa and Brennan. They're one of the couples that said yes on their wedding day, and they are still together. I don't think anyone is shocked by that. Really, there's not much to say about them. They didn't really have any arguments during the season, and the little arguments that they do have is over dishes. And someone told them, which I thought was some good advice, that don't let your roommate issues be romantic issues. So I felt like that was good advice that came out of their segments. I'm really not surprised that they're doing well. He's a pushover and she likes to dominate him. I see them lasting for the most part because she's gonna pretty much get everything she wants unless she gets tired of it. You know what I'm saying? What I really didn't appreciate from them though is like the mean girl antics. Pretty much both of them stayed on Cole's head the entire reunion, and low-key they owe him an apology for what we saw at the very end. We saw what really was going on. I saw Alexa, Colleen, I saw all the girls basically doubling down on supporting Zanab. I get that's your friend, but you should be able to call out your friends when they wrong. And we saw with our own eyes that she completely manipulated that cutie story. She completely manipulated that story. If anything, y'all should feel played because she used y'all as attack dogs. We're gonna get into it. I don't think that Cole is completely innocent, but yeah, I do think y'all are dead wrong for how y'all treated him. So let's move on to the other couple that is still together, Matt and Colleen. I still feel nervous for Colleen. Colleen looked like she was held hostage the entire time. Like she was smiling, but she had this very worried expression on her face. And I'm just, girl, blink twice if you need some help. Blink twice if you need to get out of this relationship. They were doing this and talking about how good their relationship is, but I don't know. I don't trust him. Even if he's not being physically abusive, emotionally, some of the way that he treats her is not healthy. They don't live together just yet. Like she's living in her own place and he's living in his own place because they financially weren't ready to break their lease. Colleen, don't move in with this man. Don't do it. Don't do it. She knows in the back of her mind she don't need to be with him. She knows in the back of her mind. But I ain't gonna lie, I do think a part of it is Colleen wanted to be on this show. So she is going to milk it a little bit. And I think that's partially what she's doing. But I also think she is in this toxic thing with him that she can't pull herself out of. I just really hope we're all wrong about this. I really do. Let me move on. So let's discuss Raven and SK. They're our king and queen of the reunion, okay? We find out that SK and Raven are still together. They're, you know, working on their relationship. It's long distance. You know, sometimes long distance can work. Sometimes, you know, if you really put that effort in, if both people actually really care and actually want to put their best foot forward in the relationship, I could see how it could work. The host was way more emotional than they were about their relationship, because both of them have like this stoic demeanor. This is one of those moments where I feel like Vanessa was doing too much and like on the verge of tears. And it just felt like she was trying to manipulate Raven into crying or something. I don't know. I didn't like that. Raven looked gorgeous, by the way. She looked totally different with straight hair. I almost didn't recognize her at all, but she looked gorgeous. He claims that he didn't know he was going to say no until, you know, they got up in front of everyone. He hesitated for like 5 minutes, and so that's something that I wish they would have portrayed a little bit better, the hesitation of how long it took for him to say no. But he said he just didn't want to say yes to please others. He wanted to do what was best for their relationship. I feel like he did it for a decent reason. Like, I don't feel like he said no to try to embarrass her. I think he said it because he knew that that was going to be a strain for them, and possibly it wouldn't work if they got married. But if there was less stress of, you know, having a marriage on top of the relationship, then they would be able to maneuver better. He knew that her not wanting to move and, you know, the distance would cause major issues in a marriage. While I never felt like an overt romantic connection between SK and Raven, they do seem genuine. They seem like they genuinely like each other, like they genuinely want to be with each other. He seems like he treats her like a queen. She seems like she's very appreciative of how he treats her. And even with how she embraced his culture, like, I feel like we saw like a sweeter side of her, whereas she came off way more superficial, you know, in the pods. And I think it's because she wasn't interested in Bartise, but she, you know, really grew feelings for SK, and we saw that. And so I was just so happy to see them, you know, in a seemingly healthy relationship. Like, they seem like they might actually work. I feel like this is one of those instances where it was better for them not to rush into marriage. Let's move on to Bartise and Nancy. That head. Y'all know I'm gonna mention his hair every single review. Bartise, what is up with your head? This little baby puff you got on top of your head. You are a grown man with this childish... Why? You barely have enough hair to put in it. This is your problem. You need some black friends, because they'll let you know, no sir. Do you even have a black barber? Like, what's going on?
All right, brother. Let's clean it up. Let's give them what they want. Take it all off. Yeah. Take it all off. Here we go. Just kidding.
You're not the 10 that you think you are, okay? Bert and Ernie. You're not the 10 that you think you are, but you could look a lot better if you just got some waves. Like, you, please, with this hair, you don't know what to do. You don't know how to maintain it. You don't know what you're doing. Let it go. So it was so awkward watching him talk about how smoking hot Raven was, how she was a smoke show, and basically say all this in front of your fiance who's sitting there on the verge of tears. I believe he apologized to everyone because he saw how cringy it was and the backlash that he got from it. But Nancy was defending his brutal honesty. Nancy, you gonna have to work on being a pick-me, honey. I'm sorry. Why you have anything good to say about Bartise, I don't understand. I don't get it, because I still haven't heard him say anything good about you. Anything that he liked about you. Why is it that you have so much smoke for Cole at this reunion, and I didn't even see you snap on Bartise once? And not only that, you're defending him. Girl, I'm gonna need for you to stand up. Stand up! I'm gonna need for you to stand up. Because I just didn't understand, like, how dirty this man did you. He out of everybody on the stage, you got done, well, between Zanab and Cole, you got done the dirtiest. This is sad watching this on stage. I can barely defend you. He acted like he didn't regret not choosing Raven after seeing how beautiful she was. The lies, the lies, the lies. I love how Raven made anything about her and Bartise inconsequential. She was all about SK. You never had a chance, okay? Never. I don't care those conversations where you pull her to the side. You was never gonna get it, 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 never gonna get it. Okay, you was never gonna get it, and she made that abundantly clear. And shout out to Raven once again. I love her and SK's relationship, and I love that SK called him out for speaking about his fiance in a way that was not only disrespectful to her but disrespectful to him. You were supposed to be cool with SK and, you know, be his friend, and you're sitting up here talking about how what you would do if you had her. That was nasty. Okay. SK let him know it's not because I'm insecure. I know men want her. She a baddie. I already know. But for you to be, he just thought it was corny for him to take the conversation that was supposed to be between him and Cole and Bartise and take that back to Nancy, talking about how awkward their first night was. You broke the bro code. So when they talk about his decision to say no to Nancy, he said watching it back, he was rooting for himself to say yes. She breaks down because she claims she really did love him, and she said they had conversations about not blindsiding each other. So that's even more so of a reason for you to be angry and upset with him and snapping and going off on him the way that you did Cole, because he told you he wasn't gonna blindside you, and guess what he did? Where is your smoke, honey? Did we need to bring your mama and your brother out to come get him together? And then to add insult to injury, the day after the wedding, he was caught on a date with a tall blonde, further solidifying him as an F-boy, right? So he claimed he was coping. Yeah, your age is really showing. Bartise, for you to even say something like that, it shows that you are a child and you have a very immature mentality. Because for that to even leave your lips, what? It's disrespectful because of the timing. Everybody on that stage understands that. And if you are going to do it, at least leave it behind closed doors and not film it and put it on your Instagram stories, because you're completely disrespectful. Now, the fact that everybody didn't get together and monkey stomp Bartise is beyond me. Y'all felt the need to jump Cole and strangle him and on Cole, when Bartise was the one who got away with murder on this reunion. And maybe it's because Nancy was holding back and defending him low-key. I don't understand. And I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. Even the host kind of let Bartise get away with murder. But anyway, let's move on to Cole and Zanab. They discussed the conversation that Cole had with Colleen, right? Colleen, this was her moment to give her a tearful apology. Even watching it back, I truly don't think Colleen meant any harm. I feel like where she was wrong is she was entertaining that conversation with her ex, you know, quote unquote, and she was an engaged woman. She was wrong for doing that, right? But I don't think that she was engaging in a way that she would meet up with Cole later. You know what I'm saying? I think she was just being nice, and she likes attention, so she was entertaining it, and that's where she went wrong. But the tearful apology, I feel like that was more so for Matt than anyone else. But I do think Cole was wrong for questioning his relationship in front of this woman that you potentially was going to be in a relationship with, and saying that she was more of your type, and, you know, also later on rating her higher than your fiance. Yes, Cole was dead wrong for that, and we're not going to let him get away with it. He was wrong for that, and we've been going off on him this entire season for it. So it's not like he just been getting away with it. At one point, Nancy called people out for having inappropriate conversations with their ex. Keep the aim at Bartise or keep it on the playground. Thank you. Zanab said it was hard for her to get past what he said about Colleen because she didn't get an apology until weeks later. I could have sworn we saw him apologize that night. Another thing I hated about this reunion, they didn't show enough flashbacks for me. Like, I'm gonna need for y'all to show what happened when these people start arguing. Show us what happened in the moment, like they do on Housewives. Like, this is what they do on Housewives all the time. When someone starts lying, they get showing us flashbacks of what actually happened so we can refresh our memory. Because she's low-key gaslighting me a little bit if he did apologize that night, because I could have sworn he did. Like, I don't know. Do y'all remember him apologizing that night? The only thing I remember about that situation is that he didn't tell the full story until later on. But even then, that was a couple of nights later when Colleen exposed the rest of the story and he apologized then. So I don't believe Zanab when she said he apologized 2 weeks later, because I could have sworn he apologized before that. And this is when Brennan jumped in and spoke on how often he disrespected her and most wasn't shown. And to that I say, did y'all see the disrespect with your own eyes? Did y'all witness the disrespect? Because if y'all are going based off what Zanab said, her word ain't trustworthy. We gonna get to it. But if you're only going based off what she said, then I can't take that as gospel. At one point, they asked Zanab how she could have done better in the relationship, and she said she could have shown more grace to him. I think you could have not been as critical as you were and condescending as you were towards him. He made it known that she kind of got a bad edit and she wasn't as naggy. He took it as playful and he wasn't as goofy as it looked in the edit. I don't know. I think maybe you took it as playful and she said it was playful, but I think she meant it. I think she meant it, Cole. I think you're trying to give her the benefit of the doubt and she don't deserve it because she's not giving you the benefit of the doubt. So she also said that he got a girl's number at the bachelor party and he kissed her, and he completely denied it at the reunion. He said that never happened. And she said that he admitted it to her before the wedding. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I just straight up don't believe that. I don't think she would have let that go on the wedding day. She would have had something to say to her mama and everybody else about that if that actually happened. I just don't believe. She would have put that in the wedding speech. I just don't believe that happened. I don't. And Cole was like, we didn't even see any women that day. And none of the men backed him up. They was like, well, I don't know what you did. So I don't know, y'all. I don't know how true it is. I don't know. But I just don't believe that. She also said that he body shamed her body in her face. He pushed food away from her and he told her to get a salad at one point. And, you know, she was so insecure from that she stopped eating altogether. And then at this point, she said he criticized her for eating 2 of those baby tangerines called cuties. And he said that the edit protected him, and he's basically calling her a liar. He's saying none of this ever happened, that he did not do this to her. And also, why would you stick around if I treated you this bad? Why would you stick around? And she was like, well, I kept seeing your potential, and I still don't think you're a bad guy, but you completely broke down my self-esteem. He said that's why he didn't reach out to her after the wedding, because she never reached out to him. He was just... He felt deceived. He felt like the entire time she was planning this, which is immediately what I thought when she gave the speech on the last episode. But he ended up giving this really, really tearful apology. It was heartfelt. And like I said, Cole is not blameless in this situation. He did things that are wrong, and I called him out for it when he did those things. But I don't think he was malicious. I don't think he was malicious with it. I think he might have had some regret over, you know, Colleen might have been his type, but I don't think that he meant to hurt her. I do think he wanted to try to make it work in the long run. I think he wanted to try to make it work with Zanab, and I don't think he wanted to hurt her. We think that's the end of the reunion, right? At the end, I'm so confused. I didn't know who to believe. I was like, why didn't they show us any footage? I wanted to see the footage. Show us the footages, okay? They showed us the footage, y'all. At the end of the reunion, they gave us the entire cuties scene, and I lived. So this is the cutie story. They were having this exhausting conversation about how he wanted to meet her family over in England, and they were going to try to figure out how to make this work. He's giving out idea after idea. She's shooting all of them down, and basically she repeated one of his ideas as her own and was like, you know, that could work. And he's like, That's literally what I just said. I can't imagine being in a relationship with Zanab based off of that alone. They could have just played that scene alone, unedited. I would completely understand everything Cole went through, because he was sitting up here trying to give idea after idea, because he really was trying to get to see her family, and I think he was trying to make her feel better as well, because she didn't really have much family to come to her wedding. So then she starts peeling the tangerines or whatever, and he said he wanted her to save her appetite because they were going to dinner, not that she shouldn't eat it because it was too big of a serving. He was telling her that save your appetite, I want you to eat later. And then she was like, well, I've only ate a banana and some peanut butter today. And he was so shocked. He was like, but I offered you some food earlier. Like, he was worried that she wasn't eating. He was like, well, are you just trying to fit into your dress or what? Why are you not eating? And she was like, basically something like that. Zanab is an expert manipulator. Like, it's top tier, because she had everybody on that stage and everybody in the audience questioning Cole. And I feel like this footage completely exposed her for being a manipulator. I feel like because she was kind of making the production look bad, because she was saying all the nasty things that Cole did to her was left on the editing floor, they was like, oh yeah, well, we're gonna include this cutie story that you tried to say that we left out that was so bad, we're gonna include that. And it completely exposed her for the manipulator she truly is. She completely exaggerated that entire story. He was not calling you fat. He was not trying to tell you what to eat. So how anybody could watch that and still defend Zanab? And they sit up here standing together, posting their stories, talking about how they still stand behind Zanab. Y'all dead wrong. Y'all dead wrong. Because at the very least, y'all know that this cutie story was a gross exaggeration. And it all makes sense why Cole was literally crying his eyes out at the end of their reunion. It's because he was being gaslit to high heavens and trying to save his reputation. Now, we didn't see the full thing. Maybe Cole did do some other things that she said that he did, but I'm more inclined to think that he didn't, because you completely manipulated us on this cutie situation. You know, I think a lot of people were criticizing him for questioning her mental state and asking, was she bipolar? He wasn't wrong for that. I'm sorry. Because it didn't make sense the entire time she was flip-flopping. She would say how much he crushed her self-esteem and how bad he treated her, how he insulted her, all this, but then say he was a good man. It doesn't take away from his poor actions. It doesn't. But to further vilify him with these over exaggerations, she dead wrong. I can't get behind it. And I understand why you single, Zanab. I get why you single. Why would anybody want to put up with that? And then she put out an apology that was further gaslighting everyone. I'm sorry that you're not happy with your life. I'm sorry that my wedding was not too long after Deep Tease. What did that have to do with anything? I'm sorry that you're miserable people that feel like you have to say mean things to other people on the internet. What? Girl, she didn't take accountability for anything. But them comments was turned off, though. If anybody lost the reunion, it was Zanab. Production made sure of that. But y'all let me know how y'all feel down below. I would love to hear your opinion. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.